Is from La Belle Provence in the city of Montreal that right now is on pins and needles getting ready to make history from MLSsoccer.com. Olivier Tremblay. Olivier, welcome, my friend.
Thanks for having me, Anthony. How are you?
I couldn't be better. Excited and ready for tomorrow night. I'm pretty sure the city of Montreal is buzzing and getting ready. But let's go back a week, Olivier, and let's talk about your experience in Montreal up to the lead up, during the game, after the game. Give us, a telescope. Give us an insight of what took place. Emotions. We saw objects being thrown, lasers. Talk about the experience as a media guy going down there covering the impact. How were you treated?
Well, I was about to say very nice things until you said as a media guy, because working at the Azteca is absolutely terrible. Any reporter who's been there, you can't get the Wi-Fi to work. Apparently, they shut it off on purpose for reporters from abroad, which is not a very nice thing to do. But I kind of understand the gamesmanship effort there. But general game experience was okay, I guess. Surprisingly, the Aztec was not as intimidating as even the Moneda Soto in Alajuela was. It was more impressive to me to just walk into the empty stadium and just take a breath and really take it all in, seeing this huge stadium for the very first time. Piatti's goal pretty much killed the crowd. It was a little bit noisy, but not to the levels that I expected. But once the late goal, the late goal gave us 3, 4, 5 minutes of what an actually thrilling Azteca experience is like. There was indeed stuff thrown. Thankfully, not a lot of beer flying around. We didn't get drenched in any kind of liquids. A pack of gum did land very safely between my and the colleagues' laptops. But overall, yes, the Azteca was not as intimidating as the players expected it to be, and from a reporter's perspective, it was not as well. And kudos to the Montreal fans also, who gave some good volume and good chance in the corner of the stadium as well.
Olivier, talk about the quality of the field. Talk about the weather. Talk about even the food in the hotel. Was there noise leading up to that game? Was there problems for the players to get a good night rest?
Well, the good night's rest, I don't really know about that, because I was not in the same area of town as them. They seemed rested enough to me as well, to my outside eye. But yeah, the leading up to the game, it was kind of odd, because people in Mexico City cared a lot about the cup final that was about to happen between Puebla and Chivas. They cared a lot about the Clásico about to happen between America and Chivas at the weekend. So much so that it kind of took the CCL game out of the equation a little bit out of the media eye. Yes, there were pages and column inches written about the CCL game, but immediately after the game, the sidebars were about how Matosas wanted to go all in the Clásico the weekend. Even before the game, loaded questions to Sporting Director Peláez about the game at the weekend. It was kind of a strange atmosphere going into it, but overall, Mexico City, it's tough to get used to because of the altitude and the pollution. Even if you're, especially I would say, if you're not an athlete, the food is very good. People are nice. We were never taken into a dark corner, a dark alley, because we were from Montreal, from North America. So the city experience itself was very good. It was very nice.
Outstanding. Let's talk, Olivier, about a guy who I think needs to take a lot of credit here. I spoke with Charles Boehm just before you came on. He's also with MLSsoccer.com. I'm biased. I'm cheering for the Impact tomorrow night because I know two guys, and they're very, very dear friends, Enzo Conchina, Paolo Paccioni, and I wish them nothing but success tomorrow night along with Frank Lopez. But a guy that deserves a lot of respect is, to me, the owner, the best owner in MLS. That's Joey Saputo. Here's a guy who I've talked to many a player, many a current and former coaches, who gives it everything to his staff, loves his city, loves his squad, will put every resource he has to make sure the team can succeed. He did this in Mexico. He poured a ton of money to make sure the team was comfortable, they were ready, and they were all focused at the job at hand, and he got that result in Mexico. And I don't think Joey Saputo gets enough respect for that.
Yeah, Joey Saputo invested a lot of money in the six-figure bracket there to make sure that the team was up and ready for that game. They stayed at a very nice hotel in Mexico City, not quite in the city center, along the peripheral there that allowed for somewhat easy access to the stadium. It was close to the stadium, which is not in the old part of town where most tourists will go. So that was a good job by Joey Saputo to invest that kind of money, because he just knows what kind of notoriety, what kind of recognition, and how much of a selling point CCL can be for the city. Montreal, as you know, it's got a bit of this European flavor, this vibe, and in Europe, obviously the biggest nights are the midweek nights with the UEFA Champions League, and Montrealers enjoy that. Joey Saputo is indeed aware of that, and he's invested not only for that trip, but also making sound investments in players like Marco De Vaio, for example, who was such a good ambassador for this club, and Ignacio Piatti, who may have scored already the goal that could be a difference in this tie. Not your kind of overly flashy DP, but one that has done the job. Another good investment as well. So credit to the club. They've done a fine job making this CCL run as they wanted it. History-making one.
Olivier, let's talk about, everyone's been talking about it the last 48 hours, 72 hours, the goalkeeping situation. Unfortunately, as we know, Evan Bush will not take part in the second leg, and that really has got to hurt the squad. It's got to hurt this young man because he worked so hard. And watching that first leg, the lasers that were shone on him, the objects that were thrown on him, and the saves that he made late in the game to preserve that result. Was unbelievable. Now he's not part of it, and now we start to hear in the last 48 to 72 hours of possibly Johnson being on loan from Chicago Fire, other goalies. But to me, and now we hear today Niche of the Indy 11 has been signed. But to me, I don't understand why we're not giving the opportunity to a guy who's in his mid-20s, played in the NASL, has played regularly, and that's John Smits. Why isn't the coaches giving this guy the confidence to now take over tomorrow night?
The one thing that Nicht has over Smith is familiarity with the squad. Nicht, he went to Mexico City with the team. He went to Pachuca earlier in the season, the month of February. He spent 17 days with these guys. He spent pretty much the entire preseason working with the Impact. So there's that familiarity. No, they haven't played any competitive action altogether, but as Baki Sumari was saying just a couple of hours ago, the back four in Pachuca hadn't played a single game together, and they turned out pretty well. So I think that was the main selling point for Nicht, just that familiarity with the squad. But as you said, you know, what a shame for Evan Bush. If you ask any player on the Impact squad, you know, if there's one guy who really deserves to play in the second leg of the final, it's Evan Bush. He's been very good for Montreal, made these crucial saves, not only late on, but he made some very good ones in the first half as well at the Azteca. But Evan Bush trying to keep his morale up, and to be honest, Nicht, he spoke to us today, and he's got to help with keeping Bush's morale up. A very good quote, very funny. Who said Germans don't have a sense of humor? He was good fun. He was telling the story about watching the first leg in a pub in Indianapolis, and the owner wanted to close, and Nicht had him stay the whole night until 10 p.m. until the game was done. He was the only one in the pub watching the CCL game, and now he's about perhaps to start 1 week later in the biggest game of his career.
Olivier, you know, you got to give a lot of credit to Frank Lopez. He didn't park the bus in Mexico. He went toe-to-toe, their best against his best. I thought they had more of the chances in the first half. I mean, I love Piatti's first goal, but the second one he should have dished it off. I think if it was Orduro that was open, it could have been the dagger in the heart and the story. He didn't. And that's what I love about this squad. They're going for it. They're not parking the bus. Credit to Frank Lopez. And to me, I think that's the way they need to play tomorrow night. Is that what Coach Lopez has said? Is that they're not going to park the bus, they're just going to go toe-to-toe?
They want to go for it. They know that there's a very, very fine line to walk in between going for 0-0 and just conceding a killer goal. basically, because that's just what America does. They're so dangerous going forward. They commit a lot of numbers forward, and that leaves the kind of spaces that Montreal like to enjoy. They've got so much space going up there with a guy like Oduro, a guy like Piatti can help just holding the ball up. He's done that from a number 10 position. He's even done that from a number 9 position in Alajuela, just giving the guys a breather. That they're in this to win. Make no mistake about it. They've embraced the underdog tag from the get-go, but they are in this to win. They want to win tomorrow night. Whether that will happen, we'll see, obviously, but it's not the David. I don't think it's the David and Goliath story that we expect. They can keep up with the best that America has to offer. No matter what America, they themselves want to believe. They say they should have scored 5, 6 goals in the first leg. Piatti said yesterday, "Well, bring it on. I wish them the best. Try to score goals, guys, but I don't think it's going to happen."
Olivier, what I've also enjoyed is the way the defenders really are in sync in that first leg. I mean, we saw that there was some shaky moments in the previous, semi-final. But in this final with Club America, you see the defending and Evan Bush, they were all in sync. And I think they learned a lot from the previous legs.
Yes, they were very much in sync. You can see a guy now like Laurent Simon, who probably had his best game in an Impact jersey at Azteca. He was so good, just completely assuming the risks that he takes sometimes when he goes forward. He comes back, he does not take it slow. He just comes back and he carries on with his job. A guy like Anthony Totera, to me, has been the best Montreal Impact player this season, bar none. He's been the best. He's been obviously we didn't have that many expectations from him coming from the dispersal job, but he has been that good, I think, and also controlling themselves, because it's one thing to do your defensive job well, but when you've got guys, for example, on the right flank trying to play into Donny Toya's head. He's still a young kid, and then you've got a guy like Simon who comes over and tries to reassure him, tries to get him focused, even though they don't speak the same language. I think you can see what we call in French un esprit de corps in that team. They're all in this together. They're all working towards the same objective, and you see that in the back line, just the way that they work and the way that they can sustain pressure.
Olivier, we can't thank you enough for taking time to join us here tonight. Get ready for a historic day in Montreal, a historic day in Canada and MLS. I will be glued to my TV set. I will be nervous as can be supporting on the Impact because, hey, unlike some of the people here in the city of Toronto who would never, ever die at ever supporting the Impact, I will for the game, for the country, and for people I know on the staff, and that's what it's all about. Enjoy the moment, Olivier. Enjoy something that probably we'll never see again in this country with 61,000 in a massive, massive game. Olivier, thank you so much, and enjoy everything tomorrow night, my friend.
All right, thanks, Anthony.
That is Olivier Tremblay of MLSsoccer.com. Boy, oh boy, he kept me glued to his Twitter, to his stories from Mexico last week. He will do the same tomorrow night from Montreal, and he will do the same days after that, telling us what took place on and off the field. Olivier Tremblay, one of the best young and up-and-coming guys in our business. Stay tuned.